Yes, unfortunately, the Bills came up losers in the first annual Stefon Diggs Bowl, but that's all right. We can lose that one because the only bowls we care about are Wing Bowl and the Super Bowl, and also maybe Super Tecmo Bowl because that's pretty awesome if you haven't played it. Check out the old Nintendo stuff because that's how we roll, old school style here on the Mafia Minute presented by Caesar Gap Fantasy Football. I am Magnum Mills here with Jamie G, a card carrying member of the Bills Mafia. Right now, we have the unfortunate task of breaking down the Week 5 loss to the Texans. Before we get into that, please know, again, the Mafia Minute is presented by Caesar Gap Fantasy Football. You can find us wherever you get your pods and on YouTube. Thanks for checking out the show. Find us on social media at Caesar Gap FF and on the web at mafiaminute.com. Very easy to remember, just like the flaps. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please remember the thumb. Jamie G, sunshine, puppies, daffodil, Labatt Blue, good chicken wings. I'm trying to say positive things to get you going on the right note here. How are you holding up after that tough big L on Sunday?
Yeah, it's frustrating to climb back in the game, to have a lot of opportunities to win, and to kind of just literally fall apart there in the last 30 seconds. It's really tough. I mean, I think there's things to be hopeful about, but it really sucks. It just felt like the Bills were going to win that one, and it's just disappointing. I think that they did enough defensively in the second half there to give the team a chance to win. They just kind of blew it there. So that's frustrating, man. But that's what it is. We're 3-2, and we're on to the Jets here. We'll break this one down and move on and get ready for Monday Night Football coming up here real soon.
Yeah, it was a brutal one, especially as I was watching it. I had a little bit of delay to the people upstairs, so I kind of knew it was going to happen before it was happened situation. And yeah, not a fun one. You don't want to keep finding new ways to lose. You want to find new ways to win, and that's what we're going to be working on going forward. Before we get into the game review, let's get into the news here with the little Bills on parade. Right up front, another sad one here, Jamie G. Rest in peace, Billy Shaw, Hall of Fame player for the Bills. Played the guard position back in the day. Everyone absolutely loved him. They called him a Southern gentleman. He is in the Pro Hall of Fame, like I said, and he is actually the only player in the Pro Football Hall of Fame who played his entire career in the AFL. Very well loved, elected to the Hall in the class of 1999. So rest in peace, Billy Shaw. And finally, you still have the Devontae Adams trade rumors flying, but the Bills have been linked to another wide receiver as well. Browns wide receiver Amari Cooper. Major difference between the two is that the Browns have restructured Cooper's contract to make it very palatable for teams who want to acquire him. That was done with an offseason renegotiating with him. Originally, he was going to be included in the Brandon Ayuk deal at one point in time. Jamie G, what do you think? It usually doesn't work when you do these midseason wide receiver ads. We've seen it have success at other positions, a little bit hit or miss at wide receiver. But if you could basically rent Amari Cooper for a third round pick for the rest of this year, would you do it?
Yes, I would. And here's why. I think that it just gives, if nothing else, it gives opposing defenses something to fear. And right now, when you look at the Bills wide receiving core, I think that there's some game planning that happens for Khalil Shakir and James Cook and Josh Allen. But outside of that, I don't know that there's a ton of game planning that happens for the rest of this wide receiver core. Maybe there's some game planning for Dalton Kincaid as well. But I don't know that Keon Coleman yet. I don't know that MVS or Mac Hollins or Curtis Samuel are really striking fear in anyone's heart on the defensive side of the football. If you bring in an Amari Cooper, I think you have somebody now that you have to respect, and I think that will open things up for other players. There were plays to be made in Houston. If it was a combination of drop passes, it was a combination of Josh Allen being rushed just by a half a second when he was dropping back and just being off, and mostly because of being rushed, it wasn't on time. And then a lot of drop passes. There were plays to be made with that wide receiver core. But yeah, I think I would do it for a third round pick to have Amari Cooper come in and help you down the stretch here, just because I think you're going to need somebody that defenses need to respect.
In not every player is always a fit, but Cooper is a guy who's always been known as a very consummate professional and a great route runner and technician. He's played in a couple of different systems, so I have some faith that he would be able to come in, make an impact. And yeah, he's a little bit inconsistent, especially at this point of his career, but he also has some tremendous upside can have some absolute monster games, almost win a game for you. So it never would hurt to add a guy like that. You have a little bit of extra draft capital, might not be the worst way to expend some of that. That brings us to the injury report. Luckily, there are not a lot of new additions going into week 6, but Jamie G is going to break it down for us. How's it look, man? Is the ambulance full? Is it emptying out a little bit? What are we looking like here on the injury report?
Yeah, it's not exactly full. I think there's still some beds left in the old ER room, but it's okay for this point of the season. I mean, Josh Allen, in a very, very scary, terrifying moment in the fourth quarter, left the game. He was evaluated for a concussion before returning on the next drive after the turnover there. This was scary for me because the guy's an absolute warrior, and I know he would literally die to help his team win a football game, and you love him for it. But I wanted to make sure he's okay here. It looked really bad. There's a chance he was. It looked to me like his head hit the ground very hard and he went out. He was knocked out. And then he came to and he was fine. It's weird because they talked about an ankle, they talked about a chest. All I saw was his head banging off the turf very hard. He didn't want to go in the blue tent. He said he was fine. He did end up going the blue tent. Next thing you know, you see him running on the field after the Bills' big turnover there in the red zone for Houston. So tough situation. He says he's okay. We'll see how the week progresses. He looked fine, talked fine, behaved fine after the game. The dude's just tough as nails. He's an absolute goddamn warrior, and one of the many reasons we love him the way we do. Defensive tackle Austin Johnson missed the Texan game with an oblique injury. Status for week 6 remains in the air. Same thing for cornerback Taron Johnson, who's still working his way back from that forearm injury, which we know now was a break, and it wasn't a clean break. He was able to get in a few limited practices last week, so definitely hoping that we get him back for Monday Night Football. I think it's closer than it is further away. It's one of those things where they didn't put him on IR, but really they probably should have. But I guess they just, typical Bills fashion, give us a little bit of hope and then yank it. But I guess we will get him back here sooner than later, so that's great. We'll see how he does this week. It looks to be improving. McDermott said we'll see how he looks this week. I think he's improving. We'll have to see how the week goes. Take it day by day. So he's not week by week anymore. He's day by day, and that's really good. Taylor Ratmills, starting safety. He needs to clear concussion protocol. He did not last week. We're hoping that happens early this week. We saw Cole Bishop struggle on that long touchdown on a blown coverage to Nico Collins there. That really was on Cole Bishop being out of position. I think the one we're really worried about here is Ed Oliver at defensive tackle. He missed the Texans game outright. He suffered a hamstring injury in practice. Hamstring injuries are always ones that I hate. They're never good. And also when things happen in practice, that's usually not good either. Putting them together here, not great, Bob. We hope that he's better soon. You could see that stretching on to 3, maybe 4 games, but I'm hoping he's back this week for Monday Night Football. We'll see. Also concerned about the availability of Khalil Shakir. He didn't practice all last week with that ankle injury. I'm hoping that he can at least log a limited practice Wednesday, maybe Thursday at the latest, giving him a chance to suit up on Monday night. It's a long week. We get the extra day. Really, really need him in there. Bills head coach Sean McDermott said the team is taking it day by day with Shakir, so he's also day by day. Again, McDermott said he thinks he's improving. Those have to see kind of how the week looks here. I don't expect McDermott to give us anything until Wednesday, but for right now, we're hopeful that he makes it back.
That is the hope, and hopefully this is the new normal, right? You're not adding. We're starting to get guys off the injury report. They stay off. It starts getting smaller. It doesn't get bigger. Usually you want the opposite of that, but in this case, we do want it to get smaller. And if it stays small forever, we won't be concerned about that. Let's get into our game review, starting with the final score prediction. Jamie G, you foresaw a close one with scores in the 20s. You had Buffalo Bills 28, Houston Texans 27. Actual score was Bills 20, Houston 23. You weren't off by much, and hopefully it would have been the other way around. Had the Bills maybe gotten a touchdown in overtime, you could have gotten 27-20, 26-20, gotten right in the universe. You can't feel bad about your final score prediction, right? It seemed like you were tracking kind of the right way there. You were at least in the ballpark.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be a really close game, especially considering another game on the road against a good team. Bills are banged up offensively and defensively without key pieces on both sides of the football here. I just thought this be, all the emotion of the Diggs thing and everything else. I just saw this being a close game. It makes sense to me. Obviously, I wish the score was reversed, and I think there's a world in which you could have saw a 24-20 game here had the Bills scored a touchdown on that last possession instead of a field goal. I think that probably changes things, but it is what it is. 23-20. We were close. Unfortunately, we came up on the wrong end.
Yeah, unfortunately, son, I cannot give you a cigar for that, but you're going to need to light it up, JBG, because you're going to have to give us your grades for your keys to victory from last week. I'm not asking you to go full 8 after 0 to 95, 100, maybe just a little bit past fail here. JBG, you know my keys, your keys to victory from week 5. Break them down. How do they look after the fact?
Yeah, number one, we said we had to run the football, must get back to dominant O-line play and establish the ability to run the football verbatim. Despite the outcome of the game, they probably did enough to qualify for a pass here. As a team, the Bills had 28 carries, 150 yards, averaging 5.4 yards per carry. Running backs had 23 carries for 97 yards, 4.2. So I think we were able to run the football. I guess where I'm hesitant here, and I'm going to mark it a pass, but it's not a dominant pass because they did not perform dominantly in the pass blocking aspect of this game. However, it was run the football. That's what we're talking about. So it's a pass. Number two, secondary needs to step up and slow down the passing game, especially the wide receivers. I think the overall numbers here aren't terrible. I mean, they gave up one big play. Nico Collins had a 67-yard touchdown, and then he hurts his hammy on that play. That was just a busted, blown coverage assignment by a rookie safety. Not making excuses, but the reason why you don't see the Bills give up those big plays like that is because they've had good safety play in the right position. It's very hard to get a 50, 60, 70 yard, bomb down the field on the Bills. It just doesn't happen often. And it's because they've had good safety play. Cole Bishop, I think he's going to be a good player, but in a way out of position on that play, giving that up. Outside of that, I thought they were okay. Overall, Texans had 28 receptions, 331 yards, 11.8 yards per reception, one touchdown. Again, the long one to Nico Collins there. The wide receivers had 14 receptions, 229 yards, 16 yards, and the one tutty, and that's with his big 67-yard play. Believe it or not, I thought Dalton Schultz in the run game probably hurt us more, but I'm going to give this one an even. They didn't pass, they didn't fail. You know what? We'll give it a fail. They gave up the one big play. I'm going to go ahead and give it a fail because of that. We must be mentally strong, I said, Mills, and we have to respond well to the week 4 loss. And that was the biggest defeat the Bills have suffered in 43 games. How are the Bills going to come out and how are they going to respond? Well, this one is an absolute fail with how they came out of this game. I mean, the Bills showed absolute fortitude. I love how they responded in the second half. They came back and were in a position to win, but the offense was terrible in the first half. Drop passes, penalties, miscues, just not in a rhythm at all. The defense wasn't atrocious in the first half, but they gave up 2 touchdowns on the first 2 drives, and that's really bad. Put them in a bind, and it was kind of a backbreaker in this game. That one deep pass to Nico Collins ended up killing them. It just did, and that was again just a blown assignment. I love the way how they came back in the second half, but start the game they did not come out with the hair on fire, sense of urgency that I wanted them to. And then of course they mismanaged and buffed their final possession of the first half there, allowing the Texans to kick the field goal. And then the decision to throw 3 passes from our own 3-yard line with only 30 seconds left in the game, that just ended up, we took 7 seconds off the clock. They got the ball back and hit the game-winning field goal. So again, a couple of questionable decisions there. I also hate that we didn't challenge the Dalton Kincaid pass in the first half there. That absolutely drove me nuts. I got to mark this one as a fail, Mills. They did not. I love how they came back, and I do not want to downplay that because that was incredible. They went in at halftime and they made some adjustments. They came out and they outplayed them, and they were the better team in the second half. No question about it. No question about it. But it wasn't enough to win. And the way they came out in the first half, putting themselves in the hole, down 17-3, that's just not good enough. That's not good enough. That's not Buffalo Bills football. And so therefore it's a fail.
I think that's fair, and being pretty unbiased there. Yeah, I don't want to dwell on that final thing too much, but I don't hate the idea of throwing a pass there at the end of the game, but you have to run it on one of the first two plays. If you think you're catch 'em sleeping on first down, take your shot. That's probably your only chance to make it happen. If that fails, then you have to run it on second, get a little bit more room to breathe, make them burn a timeout, and maybe they just let it go then. Maybe they're like, all right, they're not going to bother with the 3 timeouts. Just go ahead, take the knee. We're going to overtime. And vice versa. If you run it on first down, you pick up a couple, they call timeout. You want to take the shot on second down. I don't hate it. You can't double down, though. I don't mind being aggressive. They double down, then they triple down. That's the problem I have with it. Not the initial play call, but the refusal to go away from it when it obviously wasn't the right play anymore. And that's what you can't do. You can't chase good money to bad.
You're on the 3 yard, you're backed up on your own 3 yard line. You've got 0 timeouts. 0 timeouts. You've got 30 seconds left in the game. 35, whatever it was. The passing game has not been robust all day. The one thing that has been working, the running game. Now you're not going to run and get in position to score to get a field goal. I appreciate the aggression of let's try to end this thing now. You've got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You believe you got a chance, fine. But once that first down pass didn't work, you really should have either took a knee or ran the football there and see what they do, force them to burn a timeout or two, and then the same thing on third down. It's just ridiculous to me. You're going to be punting on the back of your end zone, even if they just did a Josh Allen, a shove, a tush push to get 4 or 5 yards. They're going to get at least 3 just to get a little bit more space. Anything. So we're not punting on the back of our end zone, burning 7 seconds off the clock. Just not good enough. Gave them a position to kick their hero field goal. And guess what? They hit it. There's no wind. They hit it. It's not good enough.
Yeah, and that's probably the other difference. They have a kicker capable of hitting from 60. I don't know that Bass has that in them anymore, too. So for you to get into field goal range, you were going to have to really, really make a play. And I don't hate taking the one shot. You might have a cover one situation there, give a wide receiver on the outside a chance to make a play. And the play that was made, honestly, was Keon Coleman basically tackling dude on the first one to prevent an interception. That was actually a very heads-up play by the rookie, so not something that's going to go down on paper. He actually got called for offensive pass interference on that play. And they declined it. And that should have told you kind of right then their intentions. But good heads-up play there by the rookie. That brings us to our predictions. Jamie G, you were coming in hot. We're doing it wing style. You had a mild prediction, a medium prediction, and a hot prediction. Tell us how those worked out.
Yeah, man. So the mild, we came in, the Bills would average more than 4 yards per carry as a team. And Mills, I got to say, victory is mine on this one. As a team, the Bills average 5.4 yards per carry, blowing that out. The running backs average 4.2. Got a little bit of help from Josh and company there. But, hey, they're still over 4 yards on the running backs. But the Bills as a team, 5.4. That is a win. Our medium was Josh Allen will have 1 or more passing touchdowns. And baby, close still counts. I said 1 or more. He got 1. It was a big one to Keon Coleman on 4th and 5. They go to the rookie. He gets open, gets plenty of separation on that one, and then makes a big play down the sideline there for a 40-plus yard touchdown. Incredible play. That one counts. We're taking the win there. So 2 for 2 so far. Number 3, my hot, maybe it was too spicy. We will hold C.J. Stroud to under 250 passing yards, and we will get the win. Well, unfortunately, Stroud threw for 331 yards, and the Bills lost. Did not get a win on my hot this time, baby. It was a little too spicy.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take that, bury it in the pit, never to be talked about again. And, I mean, the pit outside, not the pit from PCU, the very classic cult movie there. JBG, I love you. I know that you love the AZ, but I don't know if you love problems. And I'm going to try to help you out here as a semi-unbiased observer, just to bring up a couple problems with the Bills. Curious to what you think. What's up with the slow starts for the offense, man? They legitimately have scored 3 first-quarter touchdowns the entire season, 1 against the Dolphins, 2 against the Jags. The other 3 games, they have a combined 6 points in the first quarter, field goal in each of the last 2 games. Any explanation here? I know you're a column A and column B guy, but is this the players? Is this the coaches? I think it probably is a bit of both, but who would you point the finger at, for the majority?
I think it's more so a little bit on the execution here. The Bills have had decent drives. You look at this game, even the game against the Ravens. They come out, they're putting together a really good drive on opening drive, and they get into 3rd and 2, and Dalton Kincaid drops a perfectly thrown pass, and then they punt, and then the next play, now it's 7-0. Right. In this game, they're starting to run the football. They're getting putting some yards together, and all of a sudden now they miss a deep shot, they get a penalty, and now they're punting. So it's really just a matter of that. And I think ultimately too, third down efficiency has been way low. One of the things the Bills have really succeeded with the last couple of years being around 50% or higher on third down conversion. They are not having that type of success so far this season on third down. And that tells me they haven't found that automatic answer on third down yet. I think it could be Shakir. I really think it could be Kincaid, and it should be, but they haven't found it yet, that consistent thing. And they've had it in years past. So I think that's something they really got to figure out and figure out fast. But I think it's a combination of execution, and especially early in the game, and a combination of, an execution, I mean, drop passes, shooting ourselves in the foot, making penalties, things like that. And it's a combination of lack of third down efficiency, conversion.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. I was going to say it's a lack of that, they like to call it the easy button now, or your binky or your bread and butter or whatever, but your go-to. That thing in your back pocket you always have, that comfortable gain of 6 to 8 yards. I think that's really what you're missing right now. And that's really what you need to do is just string a couple of first downs together. And that's where they seem to be stalling out a little bit, is that ability to string the first downs together. So that harkens back exactly to that problem on third down. So, maybe the return of Shakir, you get a little bit more reps with some of these guys with Coleman. Kincaid's got to catch the ball when he's open. That's just something you got to do if you want to be a focal point of an offense. If you want to be on the other end of the bread and butter, Jamie G, you don't want to waste butter. So you better be some very good bread. I think another thing on the other side of the ball that worries me a lot is your inability to slow opposing running backs down in the passing game. It's been a little bit much. Here's what they've done just for the running backs in the passing game for the opposing teams. Cardinals had 6 receptions for 64 yards. Dolphins had 9 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. Jaguars had 4 receptions for 17 yards, but that's probably just because they won't throw it to Travis Etienne. The Baltimore Ravens had 9 receptions for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. The Houston Texans had 8 receptions for 62 yards and a touchdown. That has to be a little bit worrying, right? I mean, is this really where I think you're missing Matt Milano and those veteran safeties the most?
I think we certainly are. I mean, that this is a combination of, not reading the keys defensively. I think not knowing where the ball is going to go. And I think when you have the experience of a Milano in there, and you have an experience on the back end telling you watch for screen coming, things like that. I think that's really the combination. Their front four is made to rush the passer. They're in pass rush mode a lot. And they're also, don't get me wrong, they've been okay against the run, but I just think it's a combination of that and the linebackers being slow to react, and your corners, not getting there until after the thing's been made, and they've got it. There's also been a good bit of broken tackles too. So I think it's a combination of those things. But yeah, I mean, this is an area you're now seeing teams try to attack the Bills defense on. Makes sense. You don't have Taron Johnson. You hadn't had your starting two. We got Terrell Bernard back this past week, but I mean, he's coming off a pec. I mean, you haven't had him. You don't have him a lot. So I think all those injuries, this is the way that they've been. And credit Sean McDermott and Bobby Babich. They've been trying hard to mitigate this and cover it up and still be a good defense. And they made a lot of plays in the second half of that football game. They single-handedly got the team back in a position to win. Interception, forced fumble, force the intentional grounding. They made a lot of plays and held the Texans to 6 points in the second half. And you take away that one blown coverage, they held the team to 16 points. With the Josh Allen led offense, I don't care who he's got, they should be scoring more than 16 points. So I think it's, yes, it's worrisome, but I think overall, the Bills defense has done enough considering the injuries to kind of be in games minus the Baltimore game.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think the problem is you're not going to get Milano back anytime soon, and NFL teams are just going to keep doing this until it stops working, unfortunately. They're just going to keep spamming it, so it would not surprise me at all to see Brees Hall get like 10 targets. on Monday Night Football. So some way or another, you got to try to find a way to scheme it up. And that's probably the final thing here is the play calling. It's been okay for the most part, I will say. In the past couple of weeks, we've had some struggles on offense, obviously, with a couple of different egregious play calls. The defense has been fine for the most part, but you do have to worry 2 weeks in a row. They've given up a long touchdown early, and they've only had one sack in each of the last two games. What do you think they can do? I don't think they're going to be changing play callers anytime soon, but what is it possible for them to do to kind of tie a bow on this, tighten things up a little bit?
Yeah, defensively, I mean, you got let's be real. You've got two first-time play callers, in their first full seasons calling plays on both the offensive side of the football and the defensive side of the football. I mean, that is what it is. I know Brady had 6 games down the stretch or whatever it was, 8, whatever it was last year. Bobby Babich never called plays. So I mean, this is still a work in progress, I think. I think the thing that you can do is defensively, you got to figure out a way to get stops early on. They've been really good at making adjustments and rallying, but the past 2 weeks in a row, before you know it, you're down 17 points, 21 points, and all of a sudden the offense, now it's like shit. We can't get warmed up. Now we have to switch everything we're doing. So I think it goes all hand in hand. If the Bills are at their best when they put together a great opening drive, get up 7-0, and now it can start to take control of the momentum and keep it. And I just think that they haven't had the opportunity to do that these last couple of weeks. I think Joe Brady will get better each and every week that he learns. And I think, Sean McDermott helping Bobby Babich, I think this defense will be fine despite all the injuries.
Yeah, and don't want to jump ahead, but I am excited to see how they deploy things on Monday Night Football. It's a replay of the matchup that never happened week one last year, a little bit of revenge where Rodgers went out and Zach Wilson did the unspeakable. Well, Jamie G, even in a loss, we still have to find one silver lining in the clouds. We need your Mafia moment from week 5. What are you going with here?
This one was tough. I really want to give it to Keon Coleman on that 4th and 5. I thought it was an outstanding play, but I'm actually going to give it to Terrell Bernard. His interception play was unbelievable. He took out two weapons, covered up the tight end, then went back and got in front of the wide receiver here and took away two playmakers for them in one down and came up with that big interception. It was really good to have him back. He's going to get better each and every week. But that was an incredible play defensively. It really was. If you watch the tape here, he takes out the one option, then spins around, gets back in front of Diggs, gets the interception. Awesome stuff there, man. I got to give it up for TB Terrell Bernard.
Yeah, nice to have him back in the lineup. And same deal, despite it being a loss, we still need your Mafia MVP from week 5. Who's taking home the trophy?
I'm going to have to go with James Cook here. I mean, I think he was the most consistent, reliable piece we had on offense. I can't give it to Josh. I can't give it to the offensive line. I can't really give it to any one receiver. Yeah, Coleman made the big play, but that was it. He also had a miscue, ball bouncing off the back of his head. Nobody was consistent enough. I thought James Cook was consistent enough, and he's really the only thing there that I would give it to. So I'm gonna give it up for him.
All right, I think that is very fair. And ironically enough, he was one of the few players on the Bills to hit his player prop, which is relevant because we need to talk about the results of our Bills bet. Jamie G, I don't want to say I hate myself, but I hate myself. I've been pretty much just leaning on the James Cook over combined rushing and receiving yardage prop every week. I went away from it last week. I tried to get a little bit greedy. I had the Bills over 29.5 team points. That was plus 195. I thought it was going to be more of a shootout. The Bills got stuck on 20, didn't get there, so that's L for me. And you were riding with your guy, Josh Allen. You had him having 2 or more passing touchdowns, even money plus 100. He just had the one, so unfortunately, no soup for you. We had a tripod, a 3-leg single game parlay that we handed out. We went 1 for 3 on our leg, so no soup for us. We had your Josh Allen 2+ passing touchdowns in there. Did not get that one. We had the Buffalo Bills -3 alternate spread. Had confidence in them winning. Plus 124 on its own. We did hit Keon Coleman anytime touchdown scorer. That was plus 150, but you have to hit all 3 legs to win the tripod. On the season, I am down about 150 Bills bucks. You're down about 163 Bills bucks, but our tripods are still up 900 Bills Bucks. So as a show, we're up about 587 Bills Bucks on the season. We like that because we did not do so well on our draft Joshes. These are our Draftkings picks for the Buffalo Bills Showdown contests over on Draftkings. Jamie G, we missed it from the top on down, basically. We were all about Josh Allen at the captain. That was not the way to go. You probably had to put CJ Stroud in there. Just, it is what it is. You had to have a Texans heavy lineup to really take anything down. So maybe you could throw James Cook, Keon Coleman in at the captain, but outside of that, you needed to have 4 or 5 Texans in your lineup that really cash in any big shape, form, or fashion, I think.
Yeah, 100%. The way the game unfolded, that's what you pretty much had to do that. And I think you would have been well served on some of the value plays there with Ogunbowale as well. So I think that was a smart play there on the Texan side of the ball. But this is a Bills show, so we're not gonna be doing too much on the other side of the ball. So didn't happen for us this week. See if it happens on Monday night.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way to play it. We did our best here. We didn't hit on our Texans plays here. I did say play the cheap running back, but I thought maybe J.J. Taylor would get there. He was a 4K cheaper than Ogunbowale, but those are the breaks. That's how we do it. Like we have been teasing, we will be back in a couple of days to preview the Week 6 matchup. It's Monday Night Football. It's in Jersey. Yes, it sounds like how last year Week 1 started. Gonna do it again, this time with a better result. Jamie G, anything else before we get out of here?
Just hang in there, Bills Mafia. I know it's 2 rough weeks in a row, and we've been so good. We don't, typically have to go through 2 losses in a row like this. Hang in there. We played 2 good football teams on the road. We're going through some growing pains in the season. I believe this thing will get figured out. The Bills are going to be okay. We played probably one of our worst games we'll play all season, and we lost by a hero field goal as time expired. So I think we're going to be all right. Hang in there. We got a big one against a division rival, a chance to really separate ourselves from the pack in the division. Remember, that's goal number one, win the AFC East. And we got a good shot at it starting this Monday Night Football against the Jersey Jets. Go Bills.
And like the song goes, when the going gets tough, the Sabres hire Lindy Ruff. Thanks for checking out the Mafia Minute, once again presented by Caesar Gap Fantasy Football. Find us wherever you get your pods and on YouTube or on social media at Caesar Gap and on the internet at MafiaMinute.com. Very simple and easy to remember, just like the flaps. FLAPS, they're crucial to our success. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had fun, please remember to hit the thumb. I'm Magnum Mills with Jamie G, who is going to get you excited about getting excited for this Bills Monday night matchup. You're on the island, Monday Night Football, Jamie G. Get us excited for this game preview in a couple days.
It's Monday Night Football against the stinking Jets. We hate the Jets. Can't stand them. Ayahuasca, Aaron, and all those assholes in Jersey. Nah. It's time for Bills Mafia. Show up. Get ready. Feel it. We're going another win on prime time. I can feel this one, man. I think we come out hot here. We're going to need it. Let's get ready. I cannot wait for this one. Monday Night Football. Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Go Bills.